Are you a new or beginning writer with dreams of writing a book or writing lots of books? Well, this series, we're just going to call it my summer series, my summer writing routine series, is how to get more out of your routine, roadblocks, that kind of thing. Whether you want to write one book or many books, when you look down, like your ambitions, your goal, your dream, it seems really far away and it can seem kind of daunting. And in the past, you may have had a lot of false starts, you don't finish, or you just plain get discouraged. Is this you? Then that's what I've created this series for. But if you have a great writing routine already, then maybe you'll get some tips or tricks about how to improve that writing routine. So many writers experience writing burnout, writing roadblocks, or maybe you realize that there's just a lot of stuff that you don't know about writing, especially if you're a new or beginner writer. You go in with these big dreams, right? And these big hopes and ambitions. I know I did. And then, bestseller list and Netflix movie and all of this great stuff. And then you realize, man, I don't know as much as I thought I did. And most writers are avid readers. If you're not, you should be, because that helps. But still, taking what you read and translating it into the skills you need, that's like a whole nother ball game. So we're going to take a deep dive into the how, the what, and the why of getting where you want to be. Writing, publishing, but getting the where and what and why of your writing routines to live your best writing life. Hi, I'm Bardot, and this channel is all about writing tips, author tricks, and living your best writing life. And I want to say I was inspired by the series that I'm going to do by a book that I read. And I thought, you know what? This translates so much into writing that I want to take all of the yumminess that was in this book and give it just focus it on the writing life. First things first, small improvements make big differences. I'll say it again. Small improvements make big differences. So that great goal you have down there, that finishing the book or writing many books or whatever it is that you want to do, it's the small improvements, the small steps. The thing is, they take time. Learning how to write a book takes time. Improving your writing skills take time. You can't make time go faster for that. Writing a little bit at a time takes time. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But if you write X number of pages a day, whether it's 1 page, 3 pages, 5 pages, 10 pages, whatever time you have available, those eventually add up. And eventually you'll have your book, or several books, or many books. If you revise X pages a day, right? The whole revision process, 1 page, 2 page, 5 pages, eventually the book will get done. When it comes time to edit, the commas and the periods and those little typos that are like gremlins and sneak into your documents, or whatever, apostrophes, or the it's, or capitalization. Once again, if you focus on doing X number of pages, whatever your time frame allows, eventually it will get done. And then you'll have even a better book. And I said eventually, and I think it's the eventually that kind of brings us down. It makes it seem like forever. And that's what it may look like when you first start. But a month or a year can go by, and if you haven't done anything, nothing is done. That doesn't help either. But if you have a plan, if you have a routine, then eventually it'll get done. Focus on the improvement today and not the end result. I know that's like, we always think of the end result, but it's really, in a lot of ways, it's the journey. And you've heard that said a million times before. Other people have said it. It's the journey. So one foot in front of the other. Focus on the thing today, not that book or those 10 books or 20 books in the future, because that becomes daunting. Doing a little something every day starts to increase very slowly by what you've done. And doing something a little bit every day, in the first it seems really slow, but it eventually will compound. And before you know it, you will look, you'll open up, you'll go, oh my gosh, I have 100 pages. And oh my gosh, I have 200 pages. And you're not going to look at the end. You're going to look at what you need to do that day. All those things you've done increase exponentially. Takes time in the beginning, increases as you keep moving forward. Now the thing is, a few pages written or a few bits of knowledge gained won't make that much difference in the beginning, but soon it will. Now we've been talking about writing pages, but also if you've written your first book, you're like, oh, I want to do better, I want to improve, and you know you need to gain the knowledge, it's the same thing. So whether you watch one YouTube a day, like this one, on the craft of writing, the writing craft, or you read one blog a day, or you read one chapter a day of some of the many writing books out there, or you pick something that you're not sure, showing versus telling, and you focus on that for one day, eventually all those things that you have learned begin to increase exponentially, like a snowball, right? The snowball at the top of the hill, it starts small. By the time you're done at the end of the hill, it's mammoth, and you've either accumulated a lot of pages and or a lot of writing craft knowledge. And once you understand the writing craft, and then you're practicing it, and you're building upon those pages, and you're building upon that craft knowledge, then all of those literary elements begin to work together to create great writing. You can't do it all at once. It's a process. Sit in, don't buckle your seat, even though it's going to be a bumpy ride. Get comfy, coffee, tea, beverage of choice, and just start the process. Don't look at the end. Look at what you have to do that day. Yes, you will feel disappointed in the beginning, and it'll be slow going, and you're like, oh, this is taking forever, or there's so much I don't know. Don't focus on that. Focus on the thing you're going to do that day, whether it's write a page and or do something knowledge-based. Look at showing versus telling, dialogue tags, any of those things that you know you need to improve or refine or understanding with the writing craft. At the end of the novel, you'll look back and you'll go, ah, that was so worth it. Here's the thing about writing a book. Everybody wants to write a book. Even my husband wants to write a book. Although he doesn't really want to write a book, he just talks about, I want to write a book. And he said he has 5 pages now, and he's had 5 pages for the last 10 years. Yeah, he doesn't really want to write a book. But if you're watching this at this point, you're thinking, no, I really, really want to write a book. So the difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the goal. It's not the book or all your knowledge. You can have all the knowledge in the world and not put it to actually pen to paper. But it's not what you do to attain the goal. It's the habits and the knowledge and the routine you have to get to that goal. So not the goal itself. Everybody wants to write a book. It's a great goal. It's a worthy goal. But the people who are actually writing the book, writing 20 books, gaining the knowledge base, they're actually putting in the routine and building their skills every day to do that. Don't focus on the finished novel. Focus on writing the next page. Don't focus on learning everything literary and every author tip. Focus on learning and understanding which means using that, okay? Using that in your writing. So if you found a great blog about showing versus telling, then say, okay, this next page, I'm going to practice this, because then that becomes your practice, right? Don't go back to your earlier pages. That's what revision is for. But if you learn showing versus telling, and you're going to practice it from then on. If you learned about dialogue tags, when to use them, when to not to use them, how to use them, and you're like, oh man, I have he said, she said, they called, he, like all the wrong ones, okay? Don't go back and fix it. You're going to keep moving forward. Say, okay, from here on in, this is how I'm going to handle dialogue. Once again, revision. And first books usually take a lot of different revision. As you get better, understand the craft, you don't make those early errors. And so the revision process just becomes a refinement of those things that you want to have the reader feel and understand. That's it for today. One day at a time, one skill a day, or whatever it is that you can manage with your lifestyle. A lot of us have busy lives, children, all kinds of other things that we have to do. So it's really tricky for me to say you have to do this or this a day. No, it's what you can fit into your day. Maybe one day it's writing a page or 5 pages, whatever time you have. Maybe another day it is learning a craft, something about the novel craft or novel writing. There's so much to learn, and that it's up to you. It's up to you how you do it. Maybe you don't want to learn about the craft. You just want to, finish that book, then learn all about craft, and then go into the learning of that craft and you write your revisions. Once again, that's up to you and what you are comfortable with. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And before you check out of here, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And I love when people post my YouTubes on their Facebook, because that even helps me get out even more than the YouTube algorithm. So I love when you share it with your own friends. That would be amazing. Before I go, I just want to say I have my master's class. It is ready. It should be up probably by the time this video airs, if not very, very soon. I know the page is up. We're just finalizing a few little, finalizing that business stuff. And that is on the power of archetype, how to really dig deep into archetype personality types and get the most of them for emotion, conflict, and plot. And the other one is writing a masterful sentence. So it's those two things in one masterclass. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be $99. So I wanted to keep it really accessible for everybody. And there's about 30 pages of supplementary material, handouts, so you don't have to take notes. So the masterful sentence, I love it because it's really breaking down how the masters write, looking at what they wrote, seeing what they did, what literary tips and tricks and author techniques that they used, looking at them, understanding them, and then saying, aha, I can do that in my own novel. I hope you'll join me next week when I'm going to discuss more about writing routines and how to get the most out of them, maybe how to up your game with them, how to get one if you don't have a routine, and make that dream of writing a novel or 5 novels or 20 novels a reality. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.